Hymns of Parashara, translated by Sri Aurobindo. Sukta 67. He is the conqueror in the forests. In mortals he is a friend. He chooses inspiration as a king, an unaging counselor. He is as if our perfect welfare. He is like a happy will, just in its thinking, and becomes to us our priest of the call and the bearer of our offerings. He holds in his hands all might, sitting in the secret cave. He upholds the gods in his strength. Here men who hold in themselves the thought come to know him when they have uttered the mantras formed by the heart. As the unborn, he has held the wide earth. He has up-pillared heaven with his mantras of truth. Guard the cherished footprints of the cow of vision. O fire, thou art universal life. Enter into the secrecy of secrecies. He who has perceived him when he is in the secret cave, he who has come to the stream of the truth, those who touch the things of the truth and kindle him, to such a one he gives word of the riches. He who in the growths of earth holds up his greatnesses, both the progeny born and what is in the mothers. He is knowledge in the house of the waters, and life universal. The thinkers have measured and constructed him like a mansion. And so here we find the same images, expressions, experiences, cleansed, fulfilled relations of witness that we found awoken in Bharadwaj, but they are even more continently, inspirationally, undeviatingly honed in poetic participation and rapture. So, as I have said once or twice, only in the condition of an uncaused cause can all the different instantiations of that participating fulfillment be unparted from that which completes the unison of all their focal reality. So in this case, he is the conqueror in the forests, in the growths of the many. He is that which shall reign and rule supreme. In mortals he is a friend. He chooses inspiration as a king, an unaging counselor. So just as the fluid intoxication of rapturous cleansing, right and soul and witness, is an instantiation in which this unmoved creative presence and power becomes the eye of intuition in the sacrifice. So here in another image, but honing the same condition and presence of state, this ruling reality like a king choosing an unaging counselor, is the interaction, the communion, the undivision, the unseparation at the soul and source of these things. He is as if our perfect welfare. He is like a happy will, just in its thinking. So it is both fulfilled unto itself in its full inspired contentment, and propitious. It's a happy will, just as in Bharadwaj, the fullnesses of human fullness are moments creative to this fulfilled uncreate at the complete and supernal of all margin. So is this again like the happy will just in its thinking, and also becomes to us our priest of the call and the bearer of our offerings. For this unconditioned, this supernal, this unalienated presence and soul and fulfillment of witness and fruition and power, he holds in his hands all mights. Sitting in the secret cave, he upholds the gods in his strength. So residing unto the darkness at the unmoved presence of all communion and operation, which resounds the full inhabitation to the thrall of all happening. So, sitting in the secret cave, and being at the same time the secret cave into the self-nature's inhabitation and truth in all things, he upholds all the divine dimensions, not through their being separate, but through these being in his reality, his strength. And in such a condition of reality here, men who hold in themselves the thought, people who awaken the fulfilled communion of uncoerced pivoting of their full dimension of generation into the continent truth of this ingenerable, but the full presence being resolved and affirmed in this purposeful entirety, who hold in themselves the thought, the full union and notion, come to know him when they have uttered the mantras formed by the heart. So this condition of unalienated reality that can be the eye of the intuition of sacrifice and the complete and continent cause, how does that eye, how does that intuition of sacrifice meet itself unto the soul and source of things? Here the intuition gives a rousing communion of dream and meditation and answer. By forming the utterances, by forming the chants, by forming the mantras, by forming the reverberation formed by the heart. And what is the heart? But in this intuitional notion, the core capacity of that which gives living to life. So by forming the tension in intention, by uttering the fulfillment of the strain of communion that is formed by that utmost living reality, they come to that thought and come to reside unto that universal comprehensive reality. And then unfolding this more, holding this more pregnantly in the soul's and complete being's own witness of communion in hand, as the unborn has held the wide earth, all manifestation of witness, so too he has up-pillared heaven, with his mantras of truth. So just as our chanting, our articulation, our resonating meaning of a vowel comes to that fulfilled communion, so it in its own reality, doing this eternal chanting, doing this eternal harmonization, fulfilling this unpartability. So this up-pillared heaven and holds manifestation. Guard the cherished footprints of the cow of vision. So, in this situation, we must protect above and before all things that fulfilling, cleansing right of the way, the reflective resolution, the transport of sacrifice that gives the innate and inclusive clarification of the full dimension to be envisioned and witnessed, to be the footprints of the exercise of that supernal reality and nourishment and form. And so the ray, or the nourishing cow, they use the same word, as the ray is the delivery in birth of the supreme uncaused illuminates presence, there can be no ray without the sun in this idea filling it. So not disconnecting the footprint, not disconnecting the imprint of the ray from the sun, and our own witness, giving our own vision, giving our own rousing and recollection, this, the truth of the ingenerable being at the heart and soul of witness orientation, fulfillment of expression and founding, of its own unalienated expression and founding in ourselves, guarding the cherished footprints of the cow of vision. O fire, thou art universal life. So what is this communion, this integration of the eternal in its own eternity, delimited by accidents of its own state and reality of origin? You are this universal life at the beginning and end and all things. And so in such a way, clarifying to the full continent reality of purpose, enter into the secrecy of secrecies. He who has perceived him when he is in the secret cave. So the multiple layers of significance are part of what gives focality, focalization, the degree of enlivenment of life to its depth and grace and fulfillment of conception. Because if we were imprisoned under the hollow, disconnected accidents of things, we could not recognize, we could not resolve, we could not, to the heart and soul of the communing and ingenerable, find our own place at the essence and soul of things. And so just as we perceive this supreme reality in the secret cave of happening, so we perceive him in our secret cave of happening, and both these modes and mediums of alignment coincide. And so this allows for he who has come to the stream of the truth to be situated in this condition of state and cause, and those who touch the things of the truth and kindle him do so likewise. To such a one, he gives word, expression of the riches. So if there is this eternal wedding power has to be a witness in presence, in full inheritance of that which is unalienated to it. If the life in the life is renewed and perfected and resounded, then it cannot be closed or separated in dimension from that which is the parent and completeness of dimension in the supernal. So once more that whole section. He who has perceived him when he is in the secret cave, he who has come to the stream of the truth, those who touch the things of the truth and kindle them, to such a one he gives word of the riches. He who in the growths of earth holds up his greatnesses, both the progeny born and what is in the mothers. And so, if this is an unalienated presence, if this is an unalienated cause, as the full continent purpose of unalienated capacity in manifestations happening requires it to be, then all of the instantiation, all of the mediation, all of the instances exist in a borrowed power, exist in inheritance, witness, communion and fulfillment of truth, of revelation and complete presence and witness of this borrowed power. Hence they cannot exceed the nature of their nature. So the greatness of that which fulfills an organism, inhabits a plant, weds in any circumstance of witness in the world, from that which is the substance of this substance, the being of its being, hence is conduced and connected, resolved, welled, gathered in the unalienated presence of that supernal and constant cause. So this supernal, this innate, entire and complete, who in the growths, in the happenings and progressions and expressions of manifestation of earth, holds up his greatnesses. So it's it in it, him and him, the clarification and delivery of the water to the water's self, that comes to the inherited, unconditioned state of fulfilled purpose and soul of happening. For agency is only given by resolution and reconciliation. So if the expression of the thing remains alien to the fulfillment of that which lies at the continent cause of the expression self, if the light or the irradiance is not resolved to that which at its essence of nature is, then it would not to the full dimension of its capacity be. Hence there's a radiating in the power of that uncaused cause, in which it upholds the full greatness at the full dimension of manifestational happening, which alone could have unalienated presence and continence, engagement and capacity and pertinence of presence. And this dual condition, that it is both the progeny born, the births delivered, the child in perfect fulfillment of witness, and what is in the mothers, the unborn womb, the twin communions of both, just for the purpose of elucidation, giving the rays of the light and gathering them up into the uncaused cause of its witness. Both of these exist in this, that of their presence and state of full capacity. He is knowledge, realization, competence, the full measure of intellectual and archetypal fulfillment, in the house of the waters, in the home of all process, all fluidity of purpose and happening, and life universal. The thinkers have measured and constructed him like a mansion. And so those who rouse this inmost state find the most opulent, the most rich, the most purposeful possession and happening in this condition and state of continent cause. And so when we rouse the full organic imperative of what can be realized into a state of organic, poetic, meaningful, conceptive realization and rapture, then part of what gives focality to be focal is that the undelimited, not even attached unto other things, richness, poetically and pregnantly, harmonically, in full merit and soul and grace, there resides. And so if, in my own way, I come to try to draw what I see as the full organic worth, I think that is what these things were meant to do. That is the same way that Parashara is rebirthing the eternal to his integral realization and capacity of the tradition that came down to him. And until we, in ourselves, can find the same motivation and presence that would set the same sequence and revelation and witness of communion, of cause, then we have not come home to the meaning and soul and truth. So I invite everyone to continue in such a way with me.